What's up, everyone? It's Nick Valenti with NJ Valenti Art, and in today's live stream, we're going to go ahead and draw a Thanksgiving turkey cartoon. I hope everybody's week has been going well. Right now, I've got Affinity Designer open. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click over to the pixel persona. I'm going to come back down here to our layers panel, and I'm going to go ahead and create a pixel layer. This way we'll start our drawing on this layer. Let me know how the mic volume is, if you can hear me all right. And then also, if you have any questions while we go about this, just let me know in the chat. So we're going to come over here. We'll select the brush tool. And I've got black selected for the color. I'm going to come over to brushes. I'm going to select the natural pencil 4B. And then we can kind of get started. I want to try a few different things out for the turkey. I'm not entirely sure. Off the bat, I kind of want to do like some a very cute, big-eyed turkey. That's more shape-based than the alternative, which would be more like fully rendered character art. So let's just kind of get started here doing some sketching. As far as what I mean by shape-based, come on here, we'll turn on symmetry quick. I'm going to move this. I'll hold shift so that way I get it right up and down. But when I say shape-based, I'm talking about something that's more like kind of what vector art tends to be known for, but like say we'd have a shape for the head. Its eyes here, so that would be one shape. We'd have the shape of his neck and then say his body. Then we'd have the individual shape of the wings. And then we'd have the shapes for the little tail feathers. So these lines here will kind of give me a little bit of a guide, very rough, but I just want to have it like that. So then we'd have the shapes there, and then we could work on his little feet. And then we'd come up with how we were going to do our coloring on the feathers. So this is more what I mean by like shape-based. We'd have the one shape of the head, we'd have his wing shapes, we've got his body shape here. So it'd all be based on how we're creating the shape and then how we're lighting the shape. So again, this is more of a traditional vector style idea. Change that head shape just a bit. So we'll be able to play around with this if that's something we decide we want to do now. Go ahead and turn symmetry off. So that's kind of the shape based idea. So we're working just kind of head on, we're working our shapes in there. Another option we have though would be to do more of a what I would consider a character-based drawing. So this is going to be more particular to rendering. The shapes might be a little bit more true to like an actual turkey. A small beak here. So this would be a little bit more of what I would consider like that character type drawing. We're focused more on his expression and an overall gesture and character aspects than just the shapes. Create another layer here. And this one I want to kind of have a little bit of action in it, so we'll start with the head. And maybe have his like wings up in the air. See where we want his eyes up here. Maybe have a little beak open a bit. Just kind of being quick with some of this right now. I just want to kind of get an idea of what it might look like. But we've got this kind of leg up in the air here. We want this one to be down here, give it a little bit of contrast. All of this I can refine much more in your second, but right now I'm just trying to get the idea down. So the idea I have in my head, I just want to work through this sketch quickly. So he's kind of like jumping up and down. He's excited. It'll be a matter of where we want that tail then. You can still have it coming up this way, back behind him. I don't want the front wings interacting with that back, those back feathers too much, so I want to make sure that it's all going to be readable. And then here I'm just kind of trying to get an idea of the form, how his body is kind of moving and rotating in space. Earlier this week I uploaded a new video on YouTube, and it's some different drawing exercises that'll help you kind of get better at art, and also good exercises to do before you start doing any type of drawing like this, kind of help you warm up and make your actual drawing process a little bit more effective. So this one here, we're definitely kind of losing those like tail feathers behind him there, and it's getting a little too hard to keep track of with our front little wing feathers here. So if we're posed like this, we'd have to consider kind of trying to maybe having them back here. And by sketching them in quick like this, we can kind of see what it might look like and determine whether or not that might be something that we want to do there. I feel like, let's select the move tool. I can make him just a little bit wider. So that's definitely an option as well. So we've got the more excited turkey, more traditional, just kind of hanging out there, and then we have our more shape-based turkey. We could always, with something like this, actually what we'll do is we'll get rid of that layer, we'll duplicate this layer. tweak this one just a little bit. Let's go to see what it might look like if we say maybe get rid of tail feathers there, and then if we did like a more of a pilgrim hat. I'm going to come out, maybe break that. Break out past that feather line here. So this one would be cute too. You're gonna have a little pilgrim hat. Let's see. I do want to have him have this like little. That's a little too much. Let's see here. I kind of want to have him like have a little smile. So what we could do, this will make the beak just a little bit wider. So I'm going to refine this just a little bit because I'm kind of digging this one. Work on that little. Turn the symmetry off real quick. Turkeys, I feel like it's not quite like that under the chin. Seems to kind of come off like the side of their nose. So I'll kind of just do that, kind of off to one side. Could be kind of that's a trickier feature to try to kind of throw in there. We'll turn the symmetry back on. So continue to refine this. I want a little lip to the edge of that hat. And then what I'm doing here again is this is kind of refining the shapes. I'm talking about shape design. I've mentioned shape design before, but what that means is, so say for this hat here, you know, it's kind of like an oval. But instead what we could do is we could really kind of keep that shape, but we can add a little character to it. So by maybe adding a little bit of dip out there, pinch it in a little bit. It's still an oval, but we've changed that oval's shape just a bit to make it a little bit more interesting. And this is how you get interesting shapes, like you could, you know, ears, you know, anything for that matter. So as opposed to using an oval or a circle for his head, we ended up going with this kind of like squished oval almost, where you kind of like squish the top down a bit. As if you're kind of pressing it down. So you get almost this kind of gumdrop shape out of it. As opposed to a normal oval or even just a circle. And then to cover real quick, once we've got our shape in there, a way to add form is to add a center line and cross contour lines. And this is something that I cover in the drawing exercises video that I uploaded earlier this week. Which if you watch the video, it has a link to my Patreon page where it gives you these drawing exercise worksheets that you can print out and draw on top of. But we've got our shape here. Now we'll start with a middle line. And then we could start doing our cross contour lines. And then these would cut through to the other side. And this is a way that we can practice form. So now, what was just an oval has some more form in it, and then we would start being able to give it a dark side based on where we might be having our light hit, and go from there. So you start with the shape, and then that's a way that you can go ahead and build out that form. Okay. So I think I am going to end up going with this guy here, because I think what the ultimate plan is, we're going to create our little Thanksgiving Day turkey character. And then in a couple of days, I want to come on, we'll do a live stream, and we'll do a Happy Thanksgiving logo. And I'd like to go ahead and use this turkey guy for that, so we can have Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll make a little little logo out of it. So this is kind of like part one of a almost kind of two-part little series. So we're creating the cartoon character, and then we'll create the logo itself in another live stream. There's just some indications of where I want like some shadow, and I think for his little feet we'll go ahead and we'll add the little feathers there. And then do turkeys have, yeah, it looks like they got the little back little toe bit. Just tweak that a bit. Let me try. Erase the hat there, but let me get rid of this part back here. That should be okay. We'll use, once the color gets in here, it'll break that all up just a little bit more. I'm going to bring him straight up a little bit. You can mess around with adding a little bit more. Let's add yeah, we kind of want a nice big full fluffy tail on them, right? Turkeys kind of have a big giant tail, so that works. Let's go with that. Now, usually as I'm working through the drawing process and working on the sketch and whatnot, I'm kind of thinking ahead to how I will be vectoring these shapes and various aspects of the cartoon that we're working on. So an interesting challenge will be the tail feathers. we could work on creating them as maybe one whole shape that we can add various color and lighting to, and then we could work on breaking them up individually. Um, or we would then create them individually and kind of piece them together. So we might try creating them out of one shape and then going from there and seeing whether or not we want to create them individually instead. But as far as the overall look of the turkey, I'm pretty happy with him right now. We've kind of got our various features. He looks like a turkey. He's got his little pilgrim hat on. We've got his big giant tail feathers here. I'm going to work on separating and having some different color gradations in the tail. So this is one that I think we'll go ahead and we'll move this one up to the top. I'm going to group these other sketches, and I'll name these sketches. Just kind of keep myself organized. Okay. All right. Let's see. We're gonna hop over to designer persona. I'm gonna get up real quick, and then we'll be right back. Let's see. All right, sorry about that, but we are back. So we're over here, designer persona. I'm going to start with our back tail feathers here. let's just see what. Make that. I want to scale with object. We want all of this stuff to scale. All right, let's go ahead and we'll create a new one, and this one we're going to go ahead and do the whole shape. Might end up working a bit better this way. We may be able to have better control over some of the colors that we want to use. So we'll see. Because I want everything to be pretty even. I feel like a good way of doing that would be to have it just be one shape. So let's see. Because now that we've created that shape, what we can go ahead and do is we can work on creating our inside lines. I want to come up to our stroke panel. I want to go to pressure. I want to add one in the middle, clicking the line. Double click on this side. Okay, that's the wrong side, so we'll double click on this one because I want this side to be thinner. All right, so there you go. And now as long as we start from here and go towards the edge, it'll be thinner. All right. So in our layers panel here, I want to select all of those lines. I want to drag them into that tail shape. There's a couple of different ways. I'm going to go ahead and grab this. So I've got basically 3 sections of color for the tail. We've got the top part of the tail, we've got the middle part, and then the bottom part. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and create let's back this up a bit. Hold on. I'm going to pull that node back. I'll create the upper part of color. I wonder if I can do this. That'll work. The lower portion, okay, we can get rid of snapping right now. All right, so we'll close this shape off on the outside. So this will give us the color for the top portion, and then we'll do the bottom portion as well. And then the color of our main tail shape, the one large shape that we made, will be the color for the middle there. And we'll close these off down here. We'll select our A tool. I'm going to come in here and just make a couple of little adjustments, at least this one that I noticed. So for instance, we're going to have our wing color be the middle color here. So let's just see. Do something like that for now. This one we're going to make slightly darker. And then this one, we'll go back to our original, but we'll do I'm going to add a gradient to the main shape. Add a gradient to that one, and this one as well. Now, the top one, this yellow we have for right now, I want to bring this below those other lines, so that way it sits behind. I'm going to grab our pencil tool quick, and what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, I'm going to come up to the first feather. I do want to select auto close. Let's get the node tool quick. We're just going to close those. I don't need a stroke, so let me just select, I want a nice light purple color, get rid of the stroke. Set this to multiply. And then our node tool, let's just make our little changes here. Yep. We could take a quick look and see what it looks like with some Gaussian blur on it. Yeah, so I'll say let's blow it out. 13 pixels. I do have to come up to outer shadow, and then we will scale with object. But then what I can do now with the pencil tool, I'll show you real quick. So we'll go ahead and we'll keep creating these shadow shapes on the underside of the feathers. Alright, we do multiply. And now with this other effects here, the Gaussian blur already set, what I could do is I'm going to grab the FX. I'm just going to drag it up to this curve here, and it will apply it. So I like that very much. And then I'm going to keep working my way along. I hope everybody has some nice plans for Thanksgiving. I'm going to be spending it with my family, obviously, but it'll just be nice to all get together and spend some time hanging out, relaxing. I'm very fortunate. You know, I'm kind of looking forward to it and all. I know there are some people out there that kind of have families where it's not as much fun, so I totally understand that as well. But try to make the best of it. Try to have a good time. We can go ahead and do something similar for the lighting. Just kind of select this main part here. For the swatch, I'm going to go ahead and just add this to gradients there so I have it. We'll select this. I'm going to make it lighter. We'll do a let's try. It's like the soft light's a little too light, but the hard light's a little too much. So let's just try a few different things here quick. go with the soft light and we'll move that. Could try adding some transparency. Hard light. I'm gonna hold Alt and just duplicate this shape quick. I'm gonna move it over here. I'm gonna duplicate it again, and we'll just kind of work our way down. So I'm digging this so far here, so we'll kind of keep working away like this, and then if we decide, we can always kind of tweak it if we'd like. I tend to like to use the same elements multiple times if I can. Various reasons. I mean, it's, you know, smarter, not harder. Also, it keeps a certain level of consistency among the work in general. I'm going to turn that shape off for right now. That way I can start working on other aspects of this. So we'll grab the pen tool. Work on our little pilgrim hat here. I'll control and bring that back. I'll fill that with a flat color. I'm going to hold Alt, Shift. I'll flip that horizontal. I'm going to add both of these together. I'm going to get rid of the gray, do a black outline. Let's come into stroke and remove the pressure. So that's what's going on here is we had the start of the stroke and the end of the stroke at the same spot, so you could see that. So we'll just go ahead and reset the stroke. Let's get the bill of the hat. Alt, Shift, flip horizontal. Combine those two. Shift that back. That will need to sit in front of this hat shape. Okay. Drag that into the hat shape. Now let me see here, under our shape tools, we do not have, what I'm going to do is I'll create a square for the buckle. I want to make the stroke very large. I'm going to come up here to layer, and we'll go expand stroke. That now will turn this whole thing into a stroke shape, which we can then add strokes. So this I do want it to be gold. Nope, reverse it like that. Boom. And now we've got our gold little buckle up there. Just going to make it pretty much black. Want to come in here quick. I'm going to add a gradient to the gold there. Not too much, just a little something. I'm gonna duplicate this shape, and I'm gonna drag the top shape into itself. I'm gonna and then the shape that I dragged inside, I'm gonna hold Shift. I'm gonna drag it down just a little bit. This is how I'm gonna go ahead and create that lip. Change the stroke to 3, and then the main color shape I want it to be a little bit lighter because it'll be the lip catching light. So I did that by creating the one shape for the brim of the hat. I then duplicated it and dragged it into itself, then making the main shape, the first shape we had, a light gray, so that when I added the darker gray, it would kind of add a little rim light to the hat there. For the turkey, this head's going to be in the hat, so I want the head to be over. Alright, so we'll go ahead and I'm going to do the little beak quick. I'm going to hold the control to pull that node back. Come down here. Alright, moving right along, we're going to go ahead and create our eye shape here. So yellow, we want a nice light gray. I'm going to duplicate this ellipse. I'm going to drag it into itself. Resize it. duplicate that again. Get rid of the blue stroke, which have the black there. The eye I want to be below the beak. And then we'll go ahead and we're going to create the highlights. So what we'll do is with the gray of the eye, we can add a little bit of a gradient just towards the bottom here. The blue, we can do the same. Actually, we'll add it to the top, lay the shadow to the top, because the way the light will be coming in the eye, it'll bounce around down here and cast a shadow inside there. So there we go. I'm going to take this whole eye shape, hold Alt and Shift, we'll flip horizontal. And then we will let me get the color picker tool. Alright, and what was the stroke? It was about 5.2. What do we got here? 3, too small. The gradient will pull down and go up because he's going to have the Now we'll still pull the gradient down, and then I'm going to add a shadow shape up here. So what we can do is we can go about like that. Nope, gotta go to our swatches now. We'll go over here. Let me add that swatch quick for our light before we lose that. Alright, back here. Boom. We'll delete that fill. Yes, delete it. Boom, there we go. We're going to set this to multiply. I'll drag that in the head shape. And then what I can do, if I want the same blur on it, I can drag up from this FX earlier, add the blur. There's beak, and add a little bit of gradient to that. I'm going to change this gradient, the darker one, this one here, just a tad to the orange. This will be darker up there because it's kind of pushed up under his beak a bit. Okay, cool. So I'm digging the way this is looking so far. I want to go ahead and get the beak. Okay, this stuff can come into the beak. And now what I need is I need the beak to be over the eyes and over the red little chin bit here. So I'm not going to be able to put any of these inside of the head shape like I normally do. If I was to do that, it would clip it all out, right? And that's not what we want. So those are going to stay where they are. We do not need that. I'm going to turn off his again, and we're going to go ahead and we'll work on his body shape, and we'll add his little wings. Flip this horizontal. already lost the brown for his face. I know. Okay, boom, boom, boom. All right, we'll save this stroke too. That way we can apply it to his body. And we'll bring this top to bottom. I'm gonna come up here. I'm gonna take this. Now we'll go ahead and create a new one here. Actually, let's get rid of that. We're gonna go like this. And then it's gonna come down here. It's gonna go over there. This will be a little shadow shape for under that. Multiply, and then we'll drag this FX. And then drag that into the body. This will be a shadow shape as well. Blur it out just a little bit more, and then what I want to do is I'm going to move these out just a bit. And then we can take our transparency and work it out there, because then we got a little bit of bounce light coming up from the ground that he's standing on. So we want a little bit of shadow there, but we don't want it to be too bad, right? So we've got the light hitting the top of his tummy, it kind of going under into shadow, and then the excess light that's hitting the ground is bouncing up and hitting the bottom part of his belly. I'm going to turn his body shape off quick while I get these wing shapes here. So I'm going to grab the pen tool, back it up a bit. And then we'll add our right there, pull that all the way down. Now I do want to go ahead and create some, go back to stroke. Now these three, make these thinner, drag them into that wing shape, and I will grab the pencil tool, we'll reset the pressure, come over here again, no stroke, we'll multiply. Swing shape we do want to bring down here, over the body. Open that up, open this up, we'll move this FX. Oh, that FX had the, yeah, actually let's remove that FX. That had the more aggressive Gaussian blur on it, so let's go ahead and add a little bit of light. might do, let's turn that off. I might grab just a just want a little bit of light in there, but I don't want anything too rough or harsh, so that looks pretty good. I'm actually going to lower that. There we go, bip. Because technically then I can take the shape here, duplicate it. Drag this down to the bottom. We can then duplicate this one as well. I just wanted to kind of level those shoulders off just a little bit. Alright, so he's coming along. I want to add a little bit. Let's go back to his body shape here. I'm going to add a shadow shape for under his wing. Multiply. And I can hold Alt and Shift to the other side. Alright, we can move on to his little feet. Hold Control and pull back on that node handle a bit. So you want these to be various lengths. There you go. Pull that outside of the body shape and below the body shape. Swatch. Nope. Alright, now work our way around. Those are going to be all one. Control, we can move back that node. All right, I want to create this inside toe. I do want to come into stroke. Change that. And then I'll create some little tiny claw shapes. I'm going to reset that stroke pressure. Let's see here, we're going to come back over here. I need to get this gradient here. I'm gonna get rid of this little claw. I don't really have claws. I don't really have any little. Just kind of having just those little pokey bits work. So I can node tool. I'll change this up just a bit. I'll add one there. There you go. Okay, cool. So I select both of these. I'm going to move tool. I'll hold Alt, Shift. Now for his body, we could still do gonna up the blur on it a lot. Nope, that's the okay. So by adding an extreme blur to that, give us some lighting there. I want to do the same to his main face shape here. Soft light. And I want to come and I want to grab this effects here. Okay. Turn the pixel layer off. Let's add a couple little eyebrows up here for him. Go stroke. I'm gonna add one in the middle, and now I want both sides to taper. Cool. So I'll hold Alt and Shift, duplicate it. I'm going to flip it horizontal, continue to hold Shift. Something else we could see. Do I want his tail to be bigger? Shift it down. No. So just a little bit bigger. All right, we'll go ahead and do. So I'm just gonna. Usually when I'm doing a character, I'll add like a simple little background shape. Now let's take the stroke pressure off. Don't want that there. So something kind of like that, just to kind of give them a little something to kind of stand in front of. We can also just give them a little bit of a add a little bit of blur. Yeah, so he's looking pretty good. I'm digging him. Trying to think if there's any little last minute tweaks or anything we do. We could kind of see what it would look like if we add some noise to that, and also his wings. I mean, not his wings, his little tail shapes back here. Just to give it a little extra to look at. Get it down to the hair. One thing I'd like to try with the eyes quick is I do want to add, so we'll start about halfway. So if that was going to be here, it's got to have to be under the whites. I think we're going to get rid of that. It's not really adding much to it. I do want to add just a little bit of, we'll go back to the pencil tool here, add a little bit of shadow. Right under his beak. Add the shadow, his head shape there. Let's see here. All right, we're going to add oops, pull the middle one down just a bit too. I want to make the color a hair darker. I'll drag that into the foot shape. Now I'm going to hold Alt and Shift. Flip this one horizontal. just for some extra detail. I can also come in here with the pencil tool. We can add some shadows here as well. All right, we're gonna go ahead and shift this one over as well. I'm going to grab the, let's see, I want to add a little bit of detail, I think, to these wing shapes a bit. I'm going to grab the vector brush tool. I'm going to set the controller to pressure. Just a little extra detail. So I want to go ahead now, I will select all of these. Drag them into that wing shape. I will duplicate them, drag them up into the other wing shape. Nah, maybe it'll be better resist black. Probably get rid of those. Not really bringing much to the table there. Only other thing I'd like to maybe try to do real quick is just strengthen up the shadow down here a bit. Alright. I'm going to up the Gaussian blur on this one quite a bit. There you go. Cool, so that's our little turkey guy. One last thing I want to go ahead and do before wrapping up is I want to go ahead and assign it. So I'm going to select the text tool. I will type out my name as I like. Make it a little bit bigger. Oops, we don't need that. I'll come up here and select the font that I like. Let's take a look at some fonts real quick. Maybe do something a little sillier on this one. See if there's anything a little more Thanksgiving-y. We'll go with the usual. I'll hold Alt and then hit right arrow key to adjust the kerning on those letters a bit. And it is signed. So that's our little Thanksgiving Day turkey cartoon character. The plan would be for the next stream is to do a Happy Thanksgiving logo utilizing this little guy, so we could again then come up with a a Happy Thanksgiving. So that's a possibility for a future stream. I know we're coming up on the holidays here, so next week might be a little different with the streaming schedule. I'm not sure I'll be able to be on next Friday. But either way, I am working on a couple of videos and some shorts and whatnot, so hopefully I see you here again before Thanksgiving to do the little Happy Thanksgiving logo. And then I've got a few others planned towards the, for the beginning of December as well, rolling into Christmas time and whatnot. So thank you so much for being here with me today, spending the time. I hope you learned something and enjoyed the process. If you're new, please subscribe, like. It all helps out tremendously. If you want, you could check out my Patreon page. The link will be in the description and also the banner on YouTube. There you'll find templates, color palettes, worksheets, and high-resolution images to the stuff that I'm working on here on stream and my other videos. It's a place where you could go ahead and get various assets, vector assets, to continue your learning progress, and they supplement the YouTube videos as well. If you want to support the channel directly, a super thanks on the video is super helpful, or the Buy Me a Coffee link, which goes directly to me, is always very much appreciated, as once again, it all helps me continue to live stream and create these videos and bring them to you. My ultimate goal with the channel is to build a art community where we can all learn together and support each other in our learning process, whether it's vector art here in Affinity Designer, other vector art programs, or in general just any sort of digital art or even traditional. I do want to get into some other digital art using Clip Studio Paint. So if you're interested in that, just let me know. Just, hey, yeah, man, I'd love to see some Clip Studio Paint videos. That kind of helps get the spark going for me as well in creating those videos. But yeah, again, with the holidays coming up, things might be a little hard schedule wise here and there. Um, but I am wanting to stream every week and multiple times if possible. That way I can spend some more time with you and yeah, continue to grow together. So, once again, thank you so much for being here with me today. It is Friday. Have an awesome weekend, and next thing's Thanksgiving, and here we go. So, um, yeah, have a great time. I appreciate your support as always,